Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTuber Ronan. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Unscripted, episode 107. I'd like to say hello to everyone currently joining us on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Already in the chat. Friend of the channel, FKHC 2005, sometimes known as him. We saw Monty Python and Holy Grail in theaters this afternoon. Right on. That code for a monkey throwing its own crap. No. Actually, it isn't. Faithful Blue Wrench channel member, the bird woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Chick Productions. It's not Cleary. Channel member, JPRPH1. Channel member, the tired midnight blogger, the voice of Northern Oklahoma, Curtis Selby. Creator of the 10-Word Review, host of Films with Friends, where I will be appearing this Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Big Up Presents. I'm dropping the $2 super chat. May the Swartz be with you. Friend of the channel, Depenzak. I am well. I hope you're doing the same. My co-host on Live from Sparkwood in 21, the host of Geeky Geezers. We will be redirected to at the end of the hour. Aged Boomer. Justice for Flappy. Indeed. Watching Space Travelers on Friday. Yep. The extended director's cut. And now ribbed for your viewing pleasure. Sorry. Had to get that in there. All right. Now. That's the show. Good night. Just kidding. We're not getting out of this that easy. We have survived yet another week. Had its ups, had its downs. But here we are. Now, I conceived the whole, thumbnail. I was thinking about that, 100 men versus one gorilla thing, and came to realize, I really didn't have a whole lot to say about that. So that was kind of out. And then I tried to come up with an idea for the show. And realized, honestly, I really didn't have one. I think I've kind of covered everything on other shows. So what do you talk about when you don't really have anything to talk about? You got to kind of freestyle it, The line kept repeating in my head. They don't give these shows to chimps. But what if you did? I was that chimp. There's no plan. Sometimes you can never plan these things. Men plan, God laughs. And what do you do at that point? You know, I sit here and I know I'm not the biggest channel on YouTube. And honestly, I've never ever really tried to be. You know, when I was starting out, I actually got asked this question one time during a live stream was, am I Doomcock? And I go, no. And I was on a stream with him at that time. That was the funny thing. The one, my one kind of Doomcock story. And, no, I'm not Doomcock. I like his numbers though. I'll be honest, you know, because here's the thing. Okay. I kind of see that there's a number of different kind of YouTubers. Okay. There are the people who are very much in it for the money. They can, the people have gone on the air, however they did it. And there are people who have made a name for themselves on YouTube or being an influencer, and they've made millions of dollars doing it. I don't know how long that money's going to last. But they've done it, and good for them. And then there are the people who are the quote unquote the grifters. Luckily, there's a very, very low number of them, honestly. But yeah, they're there. And they're going to come to find out very quickly that they're not going to be able to keep their audience because people are smart and they see through this stuff. Now, there are the people that I watch on YouTube, these people who have worked for years to get their channels to the point to where it is. The people who do have millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands and have managed to keep them. I'm talking about the people who could go on to a live stream right now, have 4,000 or 5,000 people watch, and be able to keep those numbers throughout a broadcast. And my hat is off to them. And, I strive to, at some point down the line, maybe reach that number myself. I don't get me wrong. This is a very low-tech channel. I am a guy sitting in his living room with a laptop. That's the channel. That's what it's been. That's what it's always been. And it is support from the people who come back and watch my shows week to week, and people who are other YouTubers who have supported my channel. They're how I'm on right now. Seriously. That's the fact. But I'm not going to lie and say I don't want at least a little bit of recognition. You know, I do want that plaque when and if I ever hit 100,000. And that may take me years, or maybe that might never happen. But I'm not going to lie. That would be fun to get that kind of recognition from YouTube. And, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm going to be happy with that too. And you want to know why? I would rather talk to all of you here in the chat week to week than anything else. That's the prize. Those of you who are channel members, and yeah, we don't always agree. Yeah, a couple of you have left, and I get it. But what matters to me the most is that you guys are here week to week. I am here just as much to see you as you might be to see me. So I do my best to be entertaining and come up with, hopefully an interesting enough topic. Whether or not I'm successful in that, that's up to you to decide. And you've been here through some pretty dark times. And you've been here for the good times too. We've been here together. And that's the way we're going to stay. Now, what do you do when you don't have a topic? What does that mean to a show that's a stream of consciousness anyway? Does it really change anything that much? Maybe it does. I don't know. Again, up for you to decide. I could sit here and bag on Disney or Marvel or any one of the number of idiots we have in DC right now on both sides of the aisle. And, I don't always want to do that. So let's talk about something else. I could sit here and talk about the Thunderbolts. I did see it. But hey, you know what? I'm going to do a review later on tonight anyway. So let's keep that to the back burner. Yesterday was Free Comic Book Day. But I'm going to do a video about that later on tonight. So let's put that on the back burner for right now. So I had another idea. Let me just share screen for a moment. And let's see what we can come up with. Welcome to my Twitter feed. We have this young lady. We're going to move on. Let's see. What is happening? All right. So Trump orders Alcatraz to rebuild for violent offenders. All right, let's check that out. All right, U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the rebuilding and reopening of the Alcatraz prison located on an island in San Francisco Bay, California. Prison, once known for housing some of America's most notorious criminals, closed in the 1960s. The directive includes plans to substantially enlarge the facility to detain America's most ruthless and violent offenders, with involvement from multiple federal agencies like the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security. Okay, well, that's an interesting one. Alcatraz, of course, has a very storied history. It shut down after an escape. There have been a number of movies and documentaries made about that escape. Sean Connery escaped from Alcatraz once, broke back in. No. Not true. It was only a movie. But that's interesting. I mean, honestly, I don't see why not. Obviously, make it escape proof this time so no one actually gets out. There were 3 prisoners who actually did escape from Alcatraz, and I think 2 of them were brothers. And they never heard from those guys again. So my assumption was always, you know what? They drowned. I mean, that's likely what happened. They probably got pulled out to sea. Who knows? But the point is, you never heard from Frank Morris again, and you never heard from the brothers again. So either they got away, changed their names, maybe they went somewhere where nobody knew them and eschewed a life of crime. Or maybe they died in the water in that raft trying to escape. You never really know. It's one of those mysteries that never gets solved, Amelia Earhart never got solved. The Malaysian plane never got solved. I get it. CNN says they went through a wormhole. That's why I don't pay attention to CNN. Never know. But anyway, that's an interesting story. But let's see what we can find here. And since I was talking about box office earlier, let's head on over to the numbers and see what they have to say about the week so far. And this was as of yesterday. Thunderbolts 31.5 million. Sinners 9.5. They're now up to 156.23 million. Minecraft 3.1 million and now up to 387.61. That was as of yesterday. And let us scroll up. And I get something a little bit more recent here. And let's see where we are. Thunderbolts is at number 1 with 76 million. Sinners at 9.8. Minecraft 4.4. The Accountant 2.8. Until Dawn gaining another million. King of Kings hanging on, as well as the Amateur Warfare. And The Legend of Ochi. And of course, we still have Snow White drop. We have the re-release of Pride and Prejudice. Captain America is still hanging on. Wedding Banquet and Ballad of Wallace Island and Friend. So, all right. And like I said, I have a review for Thunderbolts that's coming up later this evening. So I'll give my thoughts on the movie itself at that time. Hold on. I actually don't have this up, do I? Hold on. All right, let me fix that for you. My bad. I'm reading off all of these numbers and you can't see what I'm reading. Way to run a railroad there, kid. All right. All right, so that's the box office list. That's what I was reading off a moment ago. So, of course, Minecraft did very well, surprisingly well. I thought for a movie that I thought was, just okay. But hey, that's the thing. If people go out and see a movie and they enjoy it, then that's a good thing. And in the end, what I personally think of it is just what it's always been. My opinion. Obviously, it worked for people in a way that it didn't work for me, but hey, so what? If people enjoy it, they enjoy it. That's a good thing. And that's what we're all looking for. Want entertainment again. And this is helping theaters. They're going to do well this quarter. Sinners is doing very well. I've seen it. I think it's one of the best movies of the year so far. Um, it's one that I may see again here, very soon when I get a chance. I do want to give it a second look. And that's kind of a rarity these days, because I'm usually one and done on most movies. But yeah, I mean, Marvel's the elephant in the room. And like I said, I'm going to have my opinions on it later on later on in the evening after Geeky Geezers. I'm going to go on and I'm going to do my review. So, very mixed reception to that film. There are people that enjoy it, people that I respect who have given it favorable reviews, and then there are people who have just downright savaged it. And well, I'll tell you the rest later on tonight. But those are the movies that I'm always the most interested in, are the ones that have these sort of diametrically opposed opinions, people who either love it and then people who really hate it. Those are always the interesting watches to me, because I can come in and give my own opinion and kind of take both opinions into account. But I tell you, it was definitely an interesting watch. And you're going to get my honest opinion of it later on tonight. All right. Let's stop sharing that. All right. I do want to bring up a couple of chats. Curtis says, sorry, I feel more and more the efforts of deleted Troy, Connie, and all the folks that try to schedule things. Hard to find a good time for even a handful of people to get together. Yeah, that's why I try to, that's why I try to stick to, especially if I'm doing a live stream, I try to stick to specific times during the day or the evening. And just and try to stick to that. And because I have a schedule that does change and is fluid, and I kind of have to move with that schedule. And it's not always easy. And I can understand that, because I've got a full-time job, and I've got to take other things into consideration, and sometimes other people's schedules will come into play. But you do what you can. And I'm don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this is oh woe is me or anything. No, no, no. Don't get me wrong. Um, when it comes to that, my advice is just do what's best for your channel and go on when it is the best time for you to go on. And you'll figure it out. All right. Prince X says, "Yeah, you're the real deal. Very genuine and personable." I try to be. Everybody who goes on YouTube has different styles. You have kind of like the angry guy types. Who always feel like either they're under attack or they have to attack someone. It's always some kind of drama. And I'm like, that's not really my thing, you know. Um, yeah, I've talked about things that have angered me or things that I find very troubling, you know, but that's not something that I do every week. That's not the norm, you know. Um, I do shows like this where I really let the chat take things over. Sometimes, you know, I'll have topics weeks in advance that I want to talk about. And then you'll have things like tonight where I kind of shift from what I wanted to talk about because it turns out to be kind of something of a nothing burger. So when that happens, I do a show like this, which is about not having anything to talk about. The show about nothing becomes a show about nothing, you know. Um, and like I said, the fun part of it is being here, hanging out with you guys for an hour, you know, and then we head on over to Boomer's show and we go from there, you know. Um, because I tell you, tonight, I kind of consider myself the comedian that you have to sit through before Pink Floyd comes out. You know? And that's what the show's going to be tonight. I'm the opening act before the guy you really want to see, which is good. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Rumor says I'm going to see The Accountant 2 tomorrow. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Now, I have the opportunity to, but I really do want to see it on the big screen if I can. And I know tomorrow I'm not going to have time because I have the mystery movie, and I'm only going to have time for one because I want to come back and be in time for at least part of Troy's member stream tomorrow night, which I'm going to try and be in the panel for. Um, But yeah, it's all a matter of, all right. I'll kind of explain it like this. Okay, I used to have this daily schedule that that I stuck to, you know, and that kind of helped me focus better on things, and especially after my dad passed, because I was for, we never put it that way, but I was, for all intents and purposes, a caretaker. He could take care of himself, but I didn't want him to be by himself if something happened, because health wise, in his last few years, he was not very well. And he kept going until he couldn't. And after he passed, I was like, okay, what do I do now? You know. Um I wasn't working because I wanted to, I didn't want to leave him for a long period of time. I probably could have, but I was always worried that something was going to happen. So after that, I was kind of, what do I do with myself? And this was before I became involved with YouTube, because that was later on when we got to the pandemic. So I was like, okay, if I kept to a schedule, if I set certain daily goals for myself, and that worked for a while. And then I kind of, and it worked through the pandemic because everything was closed. So I went from not working to not again, for various reasons, and then going back. There was a lot of this back and forth. So I kept to a certain schedule. And then I got involved with YouTube, and that changed things, and then I went back to work, and that changed things, you know. I bring in a roommate because somebody needed a place to stay. So that changed things, you know. Um, so I kind of went away from that schedule that I had made for myself. So what I'm trying to do here in recent days is to go back to that schedule in some form and make a list of things I want to do and the times that I want to need to do them in, and it is helpful because you get more done during the day that way. So, you know, how writers always say, you make an outline, you know, make an outline of what your day is going to be, and going back to what you were saying, Curtis, is I think that's kind of something to do, and I'm not saying that that's going to be something that's going to work for everybody. It's just make a list of things that you need to do during the day, do this before work, do this before dinner, you know, you want to, you're reading a book, make a goal for when you want to finish that book by. Or if you're writing one, good for you, and, you know, set like a goal. And remember that one page a day is progress, you know? So that's what I want to get back to. You make a list, you work the list, you stick to it, and it becomes habit. It's the best thing I can suggest. And I'll let you all in on some of this stuff. And you can encourage me, and I can encourage you. And that's something that we can do together because, we stay busy, we stay out of mischief. So, another question from D. Pensac. Any upcoming films or trailers catch your attention? I got to tell you, um, the marketing that I've seen around this movie Weapons is pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me of what they were doing with Long Legs last year. And I did a whole show. I did a whole episode of this show about the marketing um, of Long Legs. I called the episode "Under My Skin," and I'm really digging this viral campaign around Weapons with the teaser and with the trailer and that clip that they released that was like 2 hours plus long, which honestly is really just like 6 minutes or so of footage on a loop, but it's very creepy. And you do catch these little details that maybe you didn't notice the first time around. But I'm fascinated with the story of that movie could be because from what I understand, is that the whole situation involving the kids that disappear is not all that the movie is about, which is giving me ideas about what else could be going on in other parts of the movie. Because, and when you see the kids running, with their arms out like that, it kind of looks like they're holding the hands of someone running on either side of them, but you don't see anybody. So is it ghosts? You see, here's the thing is you have the trailer for a movie that's making you think about what the plot is, and you're thinking about it and it becomes like this little mystery. And I dig that, because you have so many trailers that are just like they either give away the whole store or you're wondering what the hell is this movie even about? you know but this is perfect. This is the way that this movie is being marketed is perfect. I'm interested. I am now invested. I'm curious. you know um you're going frame by frame trying to figure out, what does this mean, what does that mean, what do you want it to mean. It's so if I'm thinking of any films or trailers started catching my attention, Dave, Weapons is definitely the movie that has me interested. It is from the same guy who directed Barbarian. Now, anybody who's been following my channel knows I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie because I thought it was very predictable. And, you know, I figured out what was going to happen in that movie before I saw it just by who they had cast in it. And I figured out much of it before I had even seen the movie. So it was just like I was by at that point watching this movie that had to catch up to where I was. But with this, it is the complete opposite. I don't know what's happening past what they've told us in what you can glean from the trailer itself. This is the way to do it. This is the way to advertise a movie like that. And they got it right with Longlegs, and they're getting it right with this. And it reminds me of the marketing that Blair Witch had. Now, put aside for a second what you think of that film. There are people who dig it, there are people who don't like it. I understand both arguments. Um, I I like it on the basis that it's kind of like a campfire story, you know. The thing that upsets me the most about Blair Witch is that I didn't come up with the idea for it myself. you know. Um, you know, and I would be lying if I said I didn't have ideas for movies. I do, you know. And I've been trying to write things myself here and there, and I'm not saying that anything I've written is good, but I think the fun thing is that you tried in the first place. But I tell you, going back to the question, yeah, and I want to show the trailer so bad right now. I do, but I know I can't. I'll get hit because it's Warner Brothers. They'll copyright the hell out of the show. You know. Um, but go out and seek that trailer out. It's really very good. So that's the one recently that really caught my that did kind of catch my attention. Yeah, and that's coming out on August 8th. So I guess I know where I'm going to be that weekend. Yeah, thank you. No problem. No problem. Um, so yeah, that's one thing. Um, this is going to be one of those years, I think, where they really are going to save the better movies for later on in the year. Which is not to say that there haven't been any good movies out so far this year. There have. There have been some movies I've really liked. Um, I'm going to be doing a best of show that will either be the week before or the week after, which it will either be the Sunday before or the Sunday after my birthday. But it's going to be around that time in like mid-June. The last couple of years in mid-June, I've been doing these best of the year shows, best of the year so far shows, and I'm going to do another one of those this year. I'm just trying to decide on which weekend I want to do it on. But that episode is going to be coming up in mid-June. And I'm going to be doing, I'm probably going to do a birthday show. I've hit a couple of other milestones during the year, and I want to do kind of a celebration of that. I released my 1,000th video yesterday, and it was this live video that I did on the spur of the moment. But you can catch that on my channel. It's about I did some videos yesterday about Free Comic Book Day because I went to my local comic book store and spent the afternoon down there. So I did some videos while I was down there, and I'm going to do one later tonight. I'm not going to do reserved seats tonight because I don't have a guest. But next week, I will by then have one, so that show is going to be back. But tonight, after Geeky Geezers is over, I'm gonna do my Thunder. I'm gonna do my Thunderbolt. Thunder. I keep wanting to say. Number one, I keep wanting to say Thundercats. It's not Thundercats. No, they didn't make the Thundercats movie, which is too bad because I think it would have been good. We need a Thundercats movie, folks. Get on it. And James McAvoy has to play Lion-O. Come on, let's get this done. I did see Thunderbolts, and I'm gonna do my review of that tonight, and get that out of the way. And then after that's over, I'm going to do a separate video, and the links will be up by then. I don't have the links up, but the links will be up by then. And this is going to be after Geeky Geezers. I'm going to do my Thunderbolts review, and then I'm going to do a video on what I picked up on Free Comic Book Day, and that's going to be in place of reserved seats tonight. But in the meantime, you are going to be redirected, and I'm doing this as we speak. I'm going to redirect everyone to Geeky Geezers. Let's get this up. Hold on. Bear with me. All right. So stay through the end of the show. You will be redirected to Geeky Geezers, Age Boomer Show. And Nate, for $2, and greetings, Nate. No more summer blockbusters. Well, hopefully, I guess the closest that we're going to have to that is the next. I know there's a new Jurassic Park movie that's going to be coming out. Past that, and I'm going to have to look this up and find out what movies are going to be coming out this summer. Because I honestly do not know. I don't know. Those Jurassic Park movies always do well. I don't think most of them are that great, but I'm sure that's going to be do pretty decent. Where they're kind of rebooting that with new characters, so we'll see. Congratulations! Yeah, thank you. The live action Thundercats movie's been in production hell for 12 years. Yeah, I know. There's a channel called Supervoid Cinema that talks about a lot of these, these kind of, it focuses on movies that didn't get made or are trapped in production hell. And they did do a video on Thundercats. Haven't seen it yet, but when I do, I'll let everybody know. One thing that I want to do in the coming weeks and months on this channel is kind of let everybody in on what I'm watching. What maybe some channels that you're not familiar with, and kind of start featuring some of those channels a lot more and shouting out videos and stuff like that. Because Retro Blasting has a video out right now about that's a breakdown of Rogue One. I've only watched like the first hour of it. Now I'm going to finish the rest of it tonight if I can, or at least tomorrow. That's a pretty good video. I like the video that he did on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and this is a similar type of video. So, all right. Well, Geeky Geezers is going to be starting here in a couple of minutes, so I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to thank everyone who is following along on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everyone here in the chat. Tim, Connie, Curtis, Steve Penzak, Nate, H. Boomer, Big Al Presents, stay until the end and you will be redirected to Geeky Geezers. From HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night. Take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.